My name is Tracy Lyons. My son name is Trayvon Rashawn Jeffries. He was 21 years old. Today is very special to me because coming up on Mother's Day, my son was murdered the day before Mother's Day. So I take great pride in this opportunity to talk to my sisters about healing.
Hello, my name is Sylvia Galvin. My son's name is Thaddeus Rodriguez. He liked to be called Jay. He was 25 years old. I'm very happy to be here. To be able to talk to other moms to try to get through this Mother's Day that's coming up too soon.
Hi, my name is Annette Johnson. I'm the mother of Kiwan Vilea. Kiwan was born November the 15th, 1993, and was taken October the 9th, 2016. One thing that brings me joy, and it helps me, when I think about Kiwan's smile, it makes me smile. So that was his brand, that smile. Everything he did, he would always smile.
Hello, my name is Tina Marino. My son's name was Kyle Baldwin. He was killed when he was 28 years old. One of my fondest moments with my son is he gave me a nickname called Fluff, like Fluffy, and he would always hug me from the back and always give me a kiss and be like, "Mom, I love you, Fluff." So I would always remember that. So those are some of my happy times with him.
So I'm a mother of 5 kids, and when I first lost Kiwan, I just felt like I wasn't a mother anymore, despite having 4 kids. And it's just nothing else mattered. The other kids didn't matter, and that's the pain. But as time goes on, your kids remind you that even though you lost a child, you still have children. You still a mom, and it's okay not to be okay on Mother's Day, but still remember that it's okay to be okay too on Mother's Day. So,
For me, I don't celebrate Mother's Day anymore. I do have 6 children. Well, I've lost 2, so it's very hard to even think about that day for Mother's Day. I think for me, I'm not sure what other moms, I have 4 adult children who I'm very blessed to understand that I can't do anything that day. It's too much. They do send me messages, call me, and make sure they still do the same things they used to do, but they understand that I can't celebrate anymore because I'm missing a huge part of my heart, and I just can't do it.
I think with me, it's still very hard for me. Monday will actually be 5 years my son was murdered. So it's still a roller coaster for me. I have 2 biological kids, which was Kyle and then my daughter, Kiana, and then I also have 3 stepchildren. I think for the most part, my daughter kind of holds me up for Mother's Day. I'm really not there mentally on Mother's Day. I try to be for her and try to be strong for her, but I think she's my stakeholder in everything. She holds me up the most, so I really appreciate my daughter. And even though I should be giving more to her for Mother's Day, I think it's the opposite for me. She's my heart and she's my bond for right now.
Well, for me, it's really, really hard because my son was murdered the day before Mother's Day, May 12th, 2018. So we're coming up on the 6th year of his anniversary. I do have 4 other children that the Lord has blessed me with. I can honestly say, but God is the only reason why I'm sitting here. I cannot speak for another mother of her pain, but I can relate. Grief is a life sentence. So we're gonna die with this pain. But I wanna stand in the gap for my sisters, that pain will no longer hurt when we meet them again. We're gonna see them again. So I try every day to remember the memories of my son to help me move forward on Mother's Day. I have 4 other children that I got to look in their face on Mother's Day. But it's hard. But because of the love of God, I know we can make it.
But you know what? That's to piggyback on everybody's journey. When you have a family that understands that pain, whether you choose to celebrate or choose to not, they understand. Yeah. And that's the grace that we have, the understanding in the family. Every year, you never know what it's going to be. You can be good, you can be not so good. But I just try to remember, just because I'm not feeling well, that doesn't mean it's a bad day. It just means I'm remembering my child. So I have different organizations that have different Mother's Day programs that I'm involved with that help me to remind me that it's okay to be with other mothers that's going through the same thing that you're going through. When I need my time, my family, they give me my time. They make sure I'm okay. But they give me their time, and they still continue to wish me Happy Mother's Day. So as far as them, nothing has changed. It depends on whether I'm feeling that particular day.
It is about this, the same thing. I think with just family in general, for me, after my son was murdered, my nephew was murdered. So I have a really tight connection with my sister. And I think with our family, they're kind of like the same with both of us. They try to encourage us and try to be there supportive with us because they don't know our pain, but they know that we are in pain. So they are very supportive. They'll text us and call us on Mother's Day, and we try to get together and just, be supportive with each other. So it's heartbreaking, but, I think that's the only way that we can get through a lot of things that we get through, is just being there emotionally and physically for each other.
I agree, because it's 2 types of families. You have your bloodline family that God gave you, that you were born into. But you have a family that you was forced into. And we have a new family of sisterhood. I don't think this is a group that people would want to join, but I can honestly say the women that God has placed in my path through this tragic journey, that we love up on each other as like we are family, like we are blood sisters. It's unfortunate that we lost our children to gun violence. It's unfortunate that we have to mourn and also fight for justice. But when you have a family, it's like a fist, it's like the bond. We could fight, we could move forward. Every day I look at my 19-year-old and my 26-year-old and my 29-year-old and my 31-year-old. That gives me the motivation to keep going. We are vessels that God used us to carry those children, but they belong to Him.
That's right.
So if we keep lifting each other up, giving each other the strength to push on and move on, the love of my family, the understanding, we'll make it. Yeah. And you will make it too.
We need to know that there are resources there to help us. It won't take away anything we're feeling. And that was one of the things that I was afraid of forgetting. And what I realized, you will never forget. Even though with my other kids, I was a mother to Kiwan, and that will never change. So in those moments, I feel you have to do what you need to do. Can't nobody tell you what to do. You need to do what you need to do to get through that day. Even if that means, if you need to stay in the bed, because sometimes I want to feel that pain. I need to hurt. I need to remember. And if that means me staying in the bed for Mother's Day, if that's what I need, that's what I do. It's a never-ending journey, and today could be a totally different journey than yesterday.
I do want to touch a little on something, and I believe you guys will probably agree with me. I always talk about, or Christine, a lot of people think that, or moms think that they need to rush through their grief because they need to make others happy. And no, you don't need to rush through your grief. You shouldn't listen to anyone who's trying to tell you need to move on and you have other children, because just because our children are gone, they're still our children, and we're still going to talk about them. And I always believe, yes, you might be uncomfortable when we're talking to you about our children, but you're only uncomfortable for a small amount of time while you're with us. We're going to be uncomfortable for the rest of our life. And I'm not going to stop talking about my sons because you're not feeling okay with it. And I don't want any other mom to think that they need to rush to make others happy, because it's like we have two lives. We have one life where we're grieving and trying to deal with everything we're going through from the loss of our children. And then we go out and have to be a different person to please everyone else. And that's not okay. We're functioning, grieving parents, and we're trying our best to get through the day the best we know how. And for me, I try my hardest. I try to reach out to some moms, but sometimes I don't, as I know you guys are going through it just as bad as I am, and I don't want to put a little extra on you guys to try to, I don't know if that makes any sense. I just feel bad because I know you guys are all struggling. We're all in a bad place. And I'm just like, okay, I need to just breathe and meditate, do something to get through that day.
But now I would like to piggyback on that grief. People really need to look at the definition and look in depth of the word grief. It is not something that a person to get over in 5 years, 10 years, 2 years, 1 day. This is a life sentence. We, as victims of gun violence, have to learn how to process grief. And that's why I say it is really good to have the family that we do, as far as those organizations, as well as the one I'm in, Moms on a Mission 28, Purpose Over Pain. We have different, I would say, sessions where we learn step by step how to deal with this. There's no manual how to grieve. There's no manual how to say, okay, I'm gonna stop crying. There's no manual when people say cruel things to you and because they don't understand or can relate. So it's good to surround yourself with people that can relate to you, because when they see you cry, they know that cry. When they see that pain over you, or when they just see you walking in, they automatically understand. I know what you're going through. So I tell people all the time, grief don't have a time frame. You're gonna die with that grief, but you gotta learn how to cope with it. That's it.
So when we think about that time frame, I'm guilty of it. And when I first happened, I was like, oh, I can't wait till next year because I know this got to be better. 1 year came, 2 years, I should be better 3 years. I allow myself the grace to say, this is my life. This is who I am. This is what it is now. And when we talk about friends, my friend told me, she didn't mind me speaking because do you know how so many mothers hoping they never be in my place?
That's right.
They praying that they never be in my place. So she said, when you listen, they don't mind listening because they don't want to be in my place.
I did that. I went to 12 funerals and I walked each friend, grammar school, high school friend, to their child's casket. And I sat down and I said, God, please don't put me in this position. And he did. Now what do you do? Because his will has to be done. And I am just telling you all, we don't know the day or the hour. But when it does happen, we ask God to give us the strength to carry on.
Yeah. I think with the years though too, I think the first year Kyle got murdered, of course, you know, it's we're not here. We are actually mentally not here. The second and third year, I think I was just going through a little roller coaster but this is his 5th year, and I think I'm really, really taking it hard this year. I mentally have not been myself. January 1st, I have not. I just been sheltered. I blocked everything out, and I don't know why. And I think that's part of the grieving process too. But this year has really been bad for me. I don't know why. Just like 5 years is it just an increments of 5, 10s, 15s, 20s? I don't know. But yeah, this year I've really been taking it hard. I don't even know where I'm at right now at this point, to be honest with you. So, yeah. And just like she said, just being around the people who understand you. If you walk in a room, it's okay to cry. I was with somebody last night at actually her husband's funeral, and she had a son that died, and I emotionally just told her, I'm sorry, I couldn't be there for you. And she was like, hey, I know how it is, because, my son's anniversary is coming up Monday, and she was like, you don't have to explain, because she also lost her son. She said, I know. And she was crying for me at her husband's funeral, and she was like, don't worry. She said, I understand how it is. I know that hurt already. So it made me feel a little bit better, but then mentally it just made me feel like I wanted to drop down to my knees, because somebody really understood how I felt, and I was actually there to support her, and she was supporting me at that moment. So yeah, it's a roller coaster. It's a really roller coaster, and I wanted to get better, but like years go by and you just don't know how you're gonna feel. So
and coming off of that, it's been like that for a while, and she can tell you yes, because this is probably the first time we've been together since I think the holidays, because I just closed down after Christmas. I have not reached out to anyone. I just haven't done anything. My room has been my best friend for the last few months. And I just barely started, probably maybe 2 weeks ago, starting a call or go do things, because it's horrible. When it hits you, it hits you. And I try to get out of it, but it's really hard. And I mean, we could be doing so great. We're doing events, we're doing stuff, and we're so excited, and then out of the blue, it's like all of a sudden you're down again. You're back at day one when it's been 8 years, and I thought I was doing great, and now I'm back at the beginning. And it just, I don't know.
I don't know the exact, the chapter and book, but there is a scripture that reminds me, what we face later what we face now is nothing compared to what we will face later. I think it's in Romans, I'm not mistaken. Had I known, I would have wrote it, but so it just reminds me, I'm suffering now, but what he has to offer later is so much far greater. And I have to remind myself, sometimes that means nothing, honestly, when you grieving. But that was a scripture that helped me when I was going through my transition with Kiwan.
Ecclesiastes 3. There's a time to cry. There's a time to laugh. There's a time to be born. There's a time to die. From 1 through 11, it just gives you the explanation right then and there. Right then and there. That this is God's words telling you that there's going to be a time for sorrow, hurt, pain, laughter. So it gets me over. But my favorite song is Drake, God's Plan. God's plan. This is his plan. And that's what helps me get over. It's like a psych out. You know how you psych yourself out? Like you say, oh, I got a bump on my face. Ain't no bump on my face. I don't see no bump. You have to kind of like, you gotta kind of like psych yourself out a little bit to make it a little easier. So God's plan and Ecclesiastes 3, 1 through 11, that gets me over every time.
I think for me, anything in the book of Isaiah, because Kyle's middle name was Isaiah. So like the whole book of Isaiah. And then also, Kyle, he was always into scriptures. I can't really pinpoint a scripture that he did, but one thing about Kyle, he was very biblical, and he surprised me at times. I never really knew, but he was really into it's a Bible verses itself. So anything in Isaiah actually it just makes me happy because I see Isaiah and I get all excited. I'm like, oh, my son Kyle, So yeah, that reminds me of my son.
Okay, ladies, my friend knows already. I'm not in a good place with God. So there's nothing so I just basically meditate.
Yeah.
That's all I can do. And I know one day I'll be okay with him. And it's not his fault. He didn't do this. It's just, that's just where I'm at.
That's a natural.
I will tell you, just remember Christina bringing up Kyle and him having verses that he knew. I said Thaddeus loved going to church, and a lot of people didn't know that. He'd be at church all day on Sunday. And then his biggest, Mom, they gonna have this food. And he'd tell me all the little things that he prayed on and the different verses. And I'm just listening to him because I didn't expect that from him. And I was like, oh, okay. And I just listened to him. But I'm glad you brought that up because that has brought up a really good memory of him coming home and he would tell me. But yeah.
When she talk about anger with God, I can totally understand that because as I'm getting in the car after my son's funeral, somebody say, God did this. You have to understand God this. And I'm like, I was in and out of reality because in my eyes this is a God I serve. He said he loves me. It's no way in the world he could let somebody hurt like this. My son, Kiwan, loved me. Him and God wouldn't allow me to. I had that vision. You and I relate. They coming back. Because there's no way in the world God can allow somebody to hurt like that. So it took me, last year was my first year starting to go back to church and everything. And that don't mean I don't have my ups and downs, but I had to come back to that place.
And please, none of us have a heaven or hell to put you in for feeling that way. You understand me? Because God is a loving God. He's a loving God. But God, and in your time, my time and your time, that's with God. And that's our time.
Smile by Kirk Franklin, because that's the song that we dedicated to Kiwan. Because whenever you saw him, he was just smiling. It was just a smile. So when I listen to that, it hurts.
Yeah.
Because it relates to him, but that's the song.
There's a song that comes on, but I can't even, I know Rihanna sings it and it's his favorite song, and why I can't even think of the name right now, I'm sorry. But it actually came on I think it was last night. I was having a bad moment and I'm just driving, it just popped up. I said, really? Okay, thanks, son. And I could just see him dancing. Every time that comes on, I see him dancing.
I think with me, it's an older song for Kyle because he was trying to make a mixtape out of it. It's a Hotel California because he did a little rapping. And so every song that he actually recorded, we would put it on and we would listen to all his music. And every time I just because I could hear his voice. So I think that makes me kind of happy. Well, it makes me happy, but just hearing his voice to know I can hear him and he recorded something, even though it may not all be good. But I can hear him. So I think that brings a lot of pleasure to me to be able to listen.
But it's unfortunate. My son was murdered like 3 blocks away from the house. But I always drive to the apartment that we lived in where he was murdered at, because that was his bedroom. And I drive real slow. And it's funny because nobody's moved in that apartment. And it'll be 6 years, May 12th. So if you walk to the corner and you run over the tracks and walk 1 block up, that's where he was murdered at. So it was in walking distance. But I go to the old apartment. It just gives me solace. I remember him getting ready for work in that room. I remember him sleeping in the room with the baby. I remember him just listening to his music and just being him. So I always go to the old apartment. That's all.
I think with me, my peace is sitting by the water. and just listening to the ocean. My son was born in Pensacola, Florida, so we were like the water babies, my kids were. So we were always at the beach, and I would just sit there and I think just the waves and just hearing the wind, that brings me a lot of peace mentally. And I think about him a lot, and I kind of like talk to him when I'm sitting by the water. Like, what are you doing? Can you see me? Or can you hear me? Or, I think that brings me a little bit of peace just for myself. And that's the only place I can actually go. This year, in January, I went to go and see where he was murdered at in Pensacola, Florida. And that was emotional breakdown for me because I've never been there, even though I went when he got killed. I never been to that place. So and I think that's another reason why mentally it's just like hard for me this year. But the water most definitely is my peaceful place.
For me, it would be the ocean. I tend to take off on his birthday or the day that he was murdered. His birthday is coming up April 25th. And I'm going to try to find the nearest ocean to sit at. Just recently, with the help of Christina, it was for my other son's birthday. Usually I carry 2 teddy bears my daughter bought me, and in those teddy bears, in their hearts, they carry their ashes. So since they were little, we were always at the ocean. That was her thing. So I take them here. Of course, I just have to go to the nearest beach and sit them in the sand and just take pictures of them. And it breaks my heart because that's now how I am. They go to the beach or to the ocean, but they still go. As states I go.
I think my peaceful place when thinking about Kiwan is by myself in a room and just thinking about him. I don't have a special place that I go. One of my peaceful places, things is when I be around amongst his friends. They help me to remember him, and just seeing them, it just brings me joy. So I don't particularly have a place. I have people that bring me peace.
Well, I'm ecstatic to start first because who would have put in the mind of the Never Forget Foundation to make these flowers red when red is his favorite color? When I tell you, when I saw this t-shirt, I melted. I am so grateful to God for people like Maxwell Never Forget, all the foundations that have contributed to us to continue to keep our children's memory alive. I cannot tell you the gratitude and how I pray every day that God bless your foundation abundantly, because this right here, this how I could be happy for Mother's Day. I could wear my t-shirt with pride and say, look what he made for my son Trayvon.
Yeah.
Look at my button. Let me tell you something. Thank you. Thank you. And my last words are to everybody that know a woman who lost their child to gun violence. Please do not tell them it was their time. Please do not tell them they're in a good place. Please do not tell them God don't make no mistakes. Those cliches, we do not need to hear no more. Thank you.
The colors, actually both the boys love purple, so that's their favorite color, and tulips are their favorite. So it's like, it was perfect for both of them. But the shirt closing, as far as for the moms, just be kind to yourself. Take your time. It's okay not to be okay. Just be kind to yourself. Then surround yourself with other moms
I chose the flower, honestly, because I thought it was a pretty flower. The color is because when I think about the yellow and the color, when we had to choose, I think about the smile and the brightness when Kiwan smiled that he would bring to me. So that's why I chose that. And I want to just tell mothers, I know it may be difficult on Mother's Day. Do what you need to do to help you get through that day. But remember, it's a time to still celebrate that you are a mother.
I chose the color purple because it was one of Kyle's favorite colors. And actually, he sung a song with the color purple. Purple is a color of royalty in God, so I already know my son is just covered in purple upstairs in heaven. The rose I chose is because my son would always bring me roses. I still have the last rose that my son gave me. And he would always text me. I think one of my last texts that I got from my son is he told me, "Mom, you've always been a good mother." He said, "And don't never forget that." So I want to leave that for the mothers, just to know that your child will always consider you as a very good mother. Regardless, sometimes we feel like we fall short. Just remember, you always will be a good mother to your child. And one of the last things my son also said to me, he said, "Mom, always have your head up and your chin up." So I leave that to the mothers. Always head up and chin up, because they'll want you to do best in life and move forward. Even though they're not here with us, they want us to move forward. And I keep that in my heart for my son.
One thing, when I was working out with a trainer, and she gave me these encouraging words, and she said, as if Kiwan would say, "Mom, my life was cut short. Don't cut yours short."
Strength is ours. Together in remembrance.